Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And while I normally do not do this program by myself, well, my good friend Mr. Pivowarski is, he's back east and he's dealing with the storm of the century. Okay, maybe not the storm of the century, but it's kind of ugly out there where he's at. So he has told me to tell you he regrets that he will not be able to join us for the program today. In fact, here in California, we're dealing with our own little internet issues, and it appears like Spotify, if you want to go there and watch it, if you want to go there and listen to it, you'll be able to go to Spotify and go check it out after the program is done. But, it seems to be working, sometimes not. So, once again, I apologize. But, hey, you know what? That's what happens, sometimes on Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos. Out in the street. Tacos. All you can eat. Lettuce and shells. Cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a treat.
That's right, folks. I just love Taco Tuesday, as we tell you. It's kind of our day to celebrate all that is, all that is taco. I mean, what's not to like about meat and stuff on a piece of, tortilla or bread? I prefer to be celebrating Taco Tuesday here on The Rundown. All right, let's go ahead and we're gonna jump right into the news right after. By the way, let me clarify. Right after we go ahead and give a quick shout out to our sponsors. We're gonna start off with Hitman Industries. If you're looking to do a rebuild, you're looking for a barrel for a rebuild, or maybe you just want to rebuild your current rifle, go to hitmanindustries.net. They have rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you today. They also have Glock barrels. Go check them out. And if you are a first responder and you've never bought from them before, you get a 20% discount. Conservatives get elected to all different levels of government, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. In fact, Ronald Reagan once referred to CRA as the conscience of the Republican Party. Check them out at cragop.org. That's cragop.org. If you want to be a part of California's future today, join CRA. And then we've got Hog holsters, tactical holsters, concealed carry holsters, inside the waistband, outside the waistband. No matter what your setup is, trust me, they have got it for you. Just go there, check it out. And get your holster today. And then finally, we've got uscombatgear.com, the place to get all of your tactical gear, outdoor gear, winter gear, wet weather gear, hot weather gear, you name it, they've got it. They've got all tactical gear you need other than the gun. So you just go there, check them out. They have excellent selection. They have fast shipping, low prices, veteran-owned and operated, uscombatgear.com. Doesn't surprise me one bit, but I think it's important for us to know, and I didn't realize that it was actually this low. So, according to Breitbart, they're reporting right now that according to data that has been released from the Border Patrol, what they are saying right now is that illegal aliens who have less than a 5% chance of being deported under Biden. Now, let's read the story here a little bit. It says illegal aliens arriving at the United States border have less than a 5% chance of being deported under President Joe Biden. Immigration and Customs Enforcement data reveals. Figures detailed in ICE's fiscal year 2023 report show that illegal aliens arriving under the Biden administration have a very small chance of being promptly deported from the United States. In fiscal year 2023, more than 3.2 million illegal aliens were encountered at the nation's borders, while just 142,580 illegal aliens were deported by ICE agents over the same period. In practice, illegal aliens arrived in the U.S. last year just 4. Director of Homeland Security, saying something very, very different.
Some have accused DHS of not enforcing our nation's laws. 12 years, ultimately serving as the United States Attorney, and women of DHS are working around the clock to do so. The individuals this year, through the end of the fiscal year, DHS removed or returned more non-citizens without a basis to. In fact, the majority of all migrants encountered at the southwest border, we are doing everything we can within a broken system to incentivize non-citizens to use lawful. We will continue to do everything we can, and we will continue to enforce the law. But we need Congress to make the legislative changes and provide the funding that our frontline officers so desperately need.
So let's be clear. There's a couple of things that I wanted to recognize here that are, once again, flat out falsehoods coming from him. But you just heard data that said the exact different. In fact, Lori Rise, the director of Border Security and Immigration Center at the Heritage Foundation, refuted the Department of Homeland Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas's claim that the agency deported, quote, just heard him say this, a record number. Breitbart News, or Rice, anyway. He's already publicly admitted they released at least 70% of the 10+ million illegal aliens encountered by Customs and Border Protection over the last 3 rotations, especially when you examine the numbers to scale, Reese said. The American people stopped believing his lies a long time ago. And we have. Because I want you to listen, the other thing I wanted for the border, well, the money for the border that he wants is not to enforce the border. It's not to take people who aren't supposed to be in this country and keep them from coming in or to send them back to the countries that they came from. In fact, the White House has specifically said that if that's the money that's coming, they're not accepting it. See, in their eyes, if people illegally cross the border and they claim asylum and they process them as claiming asylum, no matter how illegitimate their potential claim is, they are, quote unquote, enforcing the law. That's the asylum, and then they're releasing them in the United States, and some people aren't getting hearings for 3 years. Now, at that point, they've been in the United States for 3 years. They may have had children in the United States. They may be already working now in the United States. In other words, they've jumped the line and them back. And that's the whole point. That's what he wants the money for. They want open borders. They want people to just walk across the United States. But here's the worst part about it. See, these are people, the people we're talking about, the people who came before them have already told them on Facebook, on TikTok, in selfie videos and all of that, hey, just come to the border. Don't try and run away. Just come to the border and say, hey, pick me up, arrest me, because I know you're going to let me go and just let me wander into the United States. Matter of fact, you're not just going to let me wander. Policy of the Biden administration. Now, here's the problem with that. That means that 98% of all the people who are working on the border are dealing with that. They're getting the people who want to get caught and helping to transport them to. Who's watching our southern border? Nobody. And that's where you have the coyotes. You have the ones who don't want to get caught. Why don't they want to get caught? Well, because they're probably carrying in illegal fentanyl. They're probably trafficking children in, or sex traffic. They're engaged in sex trafficking, bringing people across the border. So they're engaging in bringing illicit drugs, whether it's fentanyl, whether it's marijuana, whether it's meth, P2P meth in particular, or whether it's people and getting them across that want to get caught, as well as bringing up the people and with the items that they don't want to get caught. They're making money both ways under the Biden administration. That's the Biden administration's plan. That open board for joining us, and thank you for alerting me to the volume issues. I will do my best to try and make sure that we do not have those issues going forward. Oh, y'all out there, man, I'll tell you, it's not easy being both in front of and behind the camera, I will tell you. But when you have, definitely quite helpful. Anyway, moving right along to our next story. And by the way, our next story actually kind of fits in with the last story, and that is, what is the way? Why don't we let's just bust more illegal immigrants or bust more of these folks into other U.S. towns? It says here, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is lobbying Congress to allocate billions to bus more border crossers and illegal aliens into the United States. During a press conference near the U.S.-Mexico border in Eagle Pass, Texas, on Monday, Mayorkas went on defense and accused critics of lying about his record as DHS secretary. Some have accused DHS. You guys actually just heard that quote. At Mayorkas' direction, DHS has overseen year after year record-breaking levels of illegal immigration. In fiscal year 2023, more than 3.2. We already heard that one. Mayorkas, though, urged Congress to pass Biden's supplemental budget request that the White House issued in October 2023, which would have billions more in American taxpayer dollars going toward apprehending, detaining, and then releasing millions of illegal aliens into U.S. communities. Now, folks, let's just be real clear. When they say places like California, places like Detroit, places like Chicago, New York, New Jersey, Detroit, and they will release them into those communities. These are communities that already have told you they are busting at the seams. They cannot sanctuary state policies because they realize that, when you pass a policy, it doesn't really mean anything when it doesn't cost you anything, but when it eventually costs you things. And by the way, when I say cost you, I don't just mean the government, I mean the people. There are people right now in Detroit and Chicago who are coming down, who are coming in, people who didn't vote for you, people who haven't been paying your salary via tax dollars. You're putting money and resources into those communities and taking it away from the people who have been paying your salaries, the people who have been paying taxes, the people who voted you into office. Why is that? Well, it's because, they did them. You cannot be surprised when you elect somebody to office who says they're going to do a thing and then they do a thing. When that thing eventually winds up costing you, the person to blame is the person who said that they were going to do the thing. If they do not change that thing, if they continue to do that thing, despite what it costs, I'm not saying that these folks, they're trying to do well. I'm not saying that they thought through or they knew that this was going to wind up dramatically impacting their constituents, but now they know. And the question is, what are they going to do about it? Are they going to send more people to these cities? And these cities, for some reason, seem to forget that the Biden administration is the one sending most of these folks to them. I don't understand why he's only a fraction of the people who are being sent to them are being sent by him. And by the way, not everyone from Texas is being sent by him. A lot of them are being sent by the Biden administration. A lot of them are being sent by You don't hear him saying anything about the mayor of El Paso. Well, it's because he's a Democrat. I just don't understand how Karine Jean-Pierre, how President Biden, how the border czar Kamala Harris, and everyone else. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is a crisis. I can tell you right now, unequivocally, it is a crisis. We are letting, on average, the population of the city of Seattle into the country every month. Think about that. Every single month, we are coming from countries where they're largely low-skilled, may or may not speak English, low income. By the way, coming into places that already have a homeless problem, a problem with people who are having a hard time that can't. And yet and still, for some reason, it's the Republicans' fault. I don't get it. I honestly do not get it. I don't get how the average voter does not see this and understand that, once again, this is a Democrat issue and a Democrat problem for Democrats. How about you not reelect Democrats? I can think of one in particular that happens to be representing the 6th Congressional District in California, who is part of the problem. Definitely part of the problem. I mean, he's not doing anything to address this issue. He's not doing anything to do. His prescription is to just allow more people to just walk on in through the southern border and let the American taxpayers foot the bill for it. That's his answer. Anyway, moving right along, the Middle East aflame because Biden is mush. Yeah, that pretty much spells it all out right there. He is definitely mush. Their opinion, this is actually the opinion of a retired CENTCOM commander. It says here, President Joe Biden's administration has squandered the deterrence against Iran established under former President Donald Trump. Retired Marine General Kenneth McKenzie argued in the Wall Street Journal on Thursday. Iranian leaders work with Lenin's dictum that you probe with bayonets. If you find mush, you push. If you find steel, you withdraw. Tehran and its proxies are pressing their attacks because they haven't confronted steel, wrote McKenzie, who led CENTCOM from 2019 to 2022. Under McKenzie's command, American forces killed military commander Qasem Soleimani in January 2020. That action, according to McKenzie, was a key factor in deterring Iran from further coordinating strikes on American assets and allies in the Middle East. It takes will and capability to establish and maintain deterrence, McKenzie said. We are able to reset deterrences as a result, and this violent couplet. The Iranians have always feared our capabilities, but before January 2020, they doubted our will. And that's what it really comes down to here, folks. We're talking about will. And the problem is that right now there are ships that are in that are going through the Red Sea that are constantly under rockets who are shooting machine guns at these boats. Now, it's only been luck that none of these ships have enough. We're doing nothing about it. The Houthis, who are of Iran, clearly they are emboldened because they feel very comfortable. The fact that Joe Biden is mush made them feel we're just weak-minded. Our president is weak-minded. Our president is so interested in peace through strength, right? You have peace because you have demonstrated that if someone is willing to, if you're willing to take us to within an inch of their life because they don't want to be bombed into the Stone Age, they're a lot less likely to attack us. That, by the way, you demonstrate that you are so willing to allow attacks to go unanswered, that you're willing to allow, like I said, pirates and inflatable boats. What else do you expect them to do? They hate the West. They hate America. They hate us, and they're going to do whatever they can. So I'm like this. You don't have to like us. In order to keep you from attacking us, then that's what we need to do. Period. Strong military, strong deterrence, overwhelming force that you are willing to let them have it is the best deterrence. I'll just say it once again. There's a reason why Russia under Trump. And as soon as Obama Jr. was back, that's right, I'm talking about Biden. Guess what? We see another invasion. You need to do in order to protect our country. So, and by the way, just so y'all know, for people who are the folks who are like, yeah, we shouldn't be involved in anything. So in some cases when it seems like, well, why are we involved here or why are we involved there? It's because once again, it goes back to that idea of deterrence. I'm not saying we need conflicts that we need to be involved in order to make sure that the world knows that, if you mess with us, what's that saying? They may not get the horns, and they may not get the horns because, we don't really know where the bull is at. And that raises a question, who's running the Pentagon? One has to wonder, because in case you didn't know, the Secretary of Defense, Secretary Austin went into the hospital for an undisclosed medical procedure. No one said what it was at the time. No one talked about what it was at the time. Nobody knew what it was at the time. on the first of the year, evidently he had some complications and had to go back to the hospital and was immediately rushed to the ICU. Now, I will be the first to tell you that, you know, there's HIPAA and there's all that stuff. But when you are the Secretary of Defense, at the very least tangentially involved in, that we are watching very closely the proxy wars in some cases, one would think that it would be a priority to know where the Secretary of Defense is and who's in charge there. Well, evidently, when he went back in and went to the ICU, but his number two didn't know that he did that because she happened to be on vacation in Puerto Rico. So it wasn't until later that week, that the Secretary of Defense was in the hospital. Once again, not just in the hospital, but was in the ICU. And that brings us to the story from Fox News. Biden informed of Secretary Austin's cancer diagnosis until weeks after, same day as the public, not. President Biden first learned of Secretary of Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's prostate cancer on Tuesday, which was the same day as the public, a month after the diagnosis. Walter Reed National Military Medical Center revealed Tuesday that Austin was diagnosed. Per Walter Reed, the 70-year-old recovered eventually from his surgery, and he returned the following morning. The prostate cancer was detected early in the prognosis is Hicks and did not inform the White House. The Defense Department has for days said Austin was initially at Walter Reed's for an elective medical procedure and not prostate surgery. White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said Tuesday that Biden was not informed of Austin's hospitalization until last Thursday and only learned of the cancer diagnosis on Tuesday. Asked whether Biden believed the time lapse was acceptable, Kirby said they didn't know that he was. Found that out on Thursday. He went back into the hospital on Tuesday. Didn't find out he was in the ICU. So for several days, I mean, like I said, his number two, Kathleen Hicks, she was in Puerto Rico on vacation. Well, who's making decisions? Who's standing up and advising the president on military wrong on just about every single directive and policy decision that he has advised the president on? If you just look to Jake Sullivan, dude is a Ivy League idiot, educated into imbecility. And he were advised on the sort of big decisions that are necessary. And keep in mind also, he's advising an individual public policy decision he has ever made. Every position he has ever taken has always been wrong. They do well and advising them. And that is the state of the world of our international politics these days. Who's in charge? I'm not saying that Lloyd Austin should lose his job or anything like that. I am saying that he was indisposed. Anyway, that brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog holster today. And for an undisclosed medical procedure. So this was originally, when I was talking about this, before I found out it was prostate cancer, this was a funny one. I apologize if all y'all are offended, but I still think this one is funny right here. It says here he is even taking meetings and they've released pictures. Hashtag job security level 11, checkmate at POTUS. For those of you who are listening to the program, just saying. That kind of elective surgery, one has to wonder. Also, obviously, we know as a part of the whole DEI, talking about how we need to listen to the experts. The interesting thing about their experts is, well, the climate change experts on the lefts are kind of interesting. We have Greta Thunberg, who's a high school dropout, and then we have a bartender. Who could that be? That's right. That's Alex the bartender, otherwise known as AOC. That's right. In this little cartoon right here, it says the IRS. There's a sign over the individual sitting at the desk. There's a husband and wife who are looking at each other, and it says, like the sign says, it's all theirs. I know this is a joke. You got to see it to get it, or maybe who knows? Maybe you get it. Maybe some of y'all out there are able to hear it now. This last one, I just want to. This is not. I'm sorry. This is not Dyson. Anyway, this is the guy who. Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. It's like all of a sudden I forget the guy's name. He's the science guy who's made science real popular. Not Bill Nye, but anyway. This is a guy who is not known. Falls under the realm of there are no atheists in space.
Apollo 8 in 1968 left Earth because there was rumors that Russia was going to do that first, orbited the moon, took turns reading the first 10 verses of Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heavens and earth, and the earth was without form and void. They were compelled to do this. Shortly after that, with secular activities, I thought about that, and I said, if the me of today met the Madeleine O'Hare of then, pounds of thrust launched into space, 250,000 miles out, seeing Earth for the first time from that distance, did that?
I apologize. I probably should have given you the language warning. So when you are going up and you know all the things that he just stated, and then not only did you actually make it, once again, you're the first ones to ever do this, meaning that there was a good chance that you wouldn't be the first ones to actually do it. Failure would probably mean the end of your life. One would think that, yeah, you know what? Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of belief in the Lord Almighty. Just saying. All I'm doing is just saying. Let's give another quick shout out to our sponsors. We've got Hitman Industries. Looking to do a rebuild of your current rifle or a new build? Just go to hitmanindustries.net and get your pistol. Hogholsters.com. Use discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces, and get your hog holster today. And then if you're looking for outdoor gear, tactical gear, whatever kind of gear you are looking for, you can get it at U.S. Combat. Encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Hump Day. Till then, y'all be safe. Have fun. See you tomorrow.
Apollo 8 in 1968 left Earth because there was rumors that Russia was going to do that first, orbited the moon a few times and came back. And since they didn't land, nobody remembers them. I remember them because the first time anybody ever